So yesterday we did the concepts of profit and loss, and we had solved few questions in the class, about 12, 13 questions. Let's go ahead with the 14th question. Rahman buys a few apples at 15 apples for a rupee and the same number of apples at 20 a rupee. So one cost price is 15 a rupee and another cost price is 20 a rupee. He mixes the two lots and sells them at 35 for 2 rupees. Find his profit or loss percentage. So basically, I will have to find its total CP and total cost price and selling price to find his profit or loss percentage. Now, what is the crux over here? So he is buying from two different deals, but he is buying the same number of apples. Do we see this? Now, in one deal, he is buying 15 apples for 1 rupee and another deal 20 apples for 1 rupee. So, if I want both the deals to buy same number of apples, what should be that same number of apples that we should assume?
The LCM of 15 and 20,
Which would be
60.
60. Correct. So, if I am buying 60 apples from the first deal, what will be the cost price? What will be the cost price here?
4.
4. And if I'm buying 60 apples from the second deal, what would be the cost price here?
3.
3. So your total cost price is 7. Did we understand this? Up till here? Now he mixes the two lots. So now I am mixing both the apples, which means now I have total of how many apples?
120.
120 apples. And what is his selling price? He sells 35 apples for 2 rupees. So if 35 apples is sold for 2 rupees, 120 apples will be sold for how many rupees? So how will you calculate this?
Cross multiplication. So
Cross
120 into
multiplication?
2.
Correct. So 240 by 35. Of course, I will reduce it, and whatever I reduce it and get the fraction, that will be my final selling price. So now you have a cost price and you have a selling price. Can you find your profit or loss percentage?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not calculating it right now, but can you now do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then let's move ahead. Let's go to the 15th question. Mr. Alfonso buys 2 lots of mangoes. See, again, this is a similar question with a small difference. Okay. First will cost him 30 rupees per dozen, and the second lot costs him 50 rupees per dozen. So, again, there are two different lots with two different cost price, and there is one selling price which is 40 rupees per dozen. Okay. But what is the difference over here? Find the profit or loss percentage if he spent the same amount of money in both the lots. What was the condition in the previous question?
Same number of apples were purchased.
Correct. And here it is not, the mangoes are not the same, but the
Price,
price
the
is
amount for which he buys is the same.
correct. So here, if the first cost price is 30 rupees a dozen and the second cost price is 50 rupees a dozen, if we want to make both the cost price same, what can we make it as? What can we make the cost price as?
150.
150. Very good. So my total cost price will be 300. Do we understand this? Now, if I'm spending 150 on the first deal, how many dozens can I buy?
5.
5 dozens. And on the second deal,
3.
3 dozens. So totally now I have how many? 8 dozens. Are we understanding this? Okay. Now he sold the mangoes at 40 rupees a dozen. How many dozen do I have? 8 dozen. So what will be my total selling price? 40 into 8, right? My selling price is 40 rupees for 1 dozen. So for 8 dozen, it has to be 40 into 8, 320. So now this is a cost price. This is a selling price. Clearly, it's a profit. What will be your profit percentage? 20 upon 300, which is 1 by 15. What is 1 by 15 in terms of percentage? Girls, from your list, 1 by 15 in terms of percentage would be 6.66%. Do we understand this?
Ma'am, my network got lost. So can you explain from where
Where did you get stuck?
after 8 dozen?
So after 8 dozen, now the selling price is 40 rupees per dozen. So the total selling price will be 320.
Yes.
So now I have cost price, I have selling price. Can I find my profit percentage?
Yes.
That's it. Next. All right. Let's look at this. It's a previous CAT question. A man buys 35 kg of sugar and sets a marked price in order to make 20% profit. He sells 5 kg at this price and 15 kg at a 10% discounted price. 3 kg sugar is wasted and remaining sugar, okay. So first of all, I know the total quantity and rest everything is given to me in terms of percentage. Except quantity, everything is given to me in terms of percentage. So can I just quickly assume my cost price? Can I assume my cost price per kg?
Yes, ma'am.
So let us say my cost price per kg is 100. Okay, fine. So my total cost price will be 3500. Is everybody with me? Now
Yes,
how does the selling happen? So what is my marked price? Tell me the marked price per kg.
120.
Yes. Now how does the selling happen? He sells 5 kg at this price. So for the first selling price will be 120 into 5, which will be
600.
600. Then 15 kg at 10% discount. So what will be the price for 15 kg? Marked price per kg is 120. If I'm applying 10% discount, what will be my new price at which 15 kg is sold? What is 10?
1350.
Did you get 108 over here is my question. What is
Oh no, I
10% of
applied the discount.
120?
My calculation went wrong.
Did you understand what I did? 10% of 120 is 12 rupees. So if
Ma'am,
I
can you
reduce,
just go over the question once more because my net was not good, so I couldn't hear it.
can you see the question here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so यहाँ पे I have assumed my cost price to be 100. Okay, the total quantity is 35 kg. So your total cost price becomes 3500.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the mark price is set at a 20% profit. So your mark price per kg is set at 120. 5 kg is sold at this price. So this first part is sold at a total of 600 rupees. Now 15 kg is sold at 10% discount. So if I apply 10% discount on 120, what will be the new mark price? So I want you guys to start doing this little mentally.
108.
10% of 120 is 12 rupees. So you just need to subtract 120 minus 12 mentally. You are not supposed to write anything on the paper, ideally in this. Okay, so what is 15 into 108? 15 eights are 120. 15 zeros are 0 and 12. 15 ones are 15 and 1
1620.
16. Okay, then what happens? 3 kg sugar is wasted, which means you cannot sell that. And now what is the remaining quantity of sugar? Tell me.
12 kgs.
12 kgs. And I don't know at what price as of now. Correct? Now what is the condition given to me? He wants to sell the remaining sugar by raising the marked price by P%. Now, this is important. Overall profit of 15%. On what basis do I calculate my overall profit?
The total cost price and the total price
Correct. So
of
my total cost price is 3,500. So what is 15% of 3,500? What is 10% of 3,500?
350.
And what is 5 more percent of 3,500? Is everybody getting this?
525. Yeah.
So I want my total selling price to be how much? What should be my total selling price?
4,025.
Are we clear up till here? This is very, very important. Now, your first part is already giving you 600 rupees. Your second part is giving you 1620. And your third part is giving you 0. So, to make a total of 4025, what should be the fourth part? Calculate and tell me.
18505.
What? Again? 18?
05.
Okay. So, now to make this 1805, what should be the price over here approximately? Calculate and tell me.
150.41.
So if I approximately take it as 150 because it is nearest to, now what is asked? Raising the mark price by P%. Mark price was 120 and it is raised to 150. So what is the percentage increase? How do I calculate percentage increase between 120 and 150?
25%.
Correct. 30 upon 120, 1 by 4. So my answer will be 25%. See, it's an easy question if you go step by step. In such questions, it is wherever possible, always try by assuming a value and working with numbers rather than variables. Moving ahead, Anil buys 12 toys and labels, each with the same selling price. He sells 8 toys initially at 20% discount on the labeled price. Then he sells remaining 4 toys at an additional 25% discount on the discounted price. And he gets a total of 2112 and makes a 10% profit. With no discounts, what would his percentage of profit be? Okay, I think this part is a misprint. You don't need this. There is some error in the question. Let me just check. All right. So the error over here is Anil buys 12 toys and they are all labeled with same marked price. It's not the selling price, but the marked price. Okay. Now he sells 8 toys initially at 20% discount on the label price. So what happens is, let's say the mark price of each toy is 100 rupees. Okay. So your total mark price will be 1200. Now what happens in the first 8 toys he sells at 20% discount. So what will be the price for first 8 toys?
960.
20% discount on 100. Price per toy, if I have to say, the mark price of the toys is 100 rupees, right? If I'm applying 20% discount on the mark price, it is going to be 80 rupees per
Yes.
toy,
Yes.
right? So each toy is sold at 8 into 80, which is 640 rupees. And what about the remaining toys? Additional 25% discount on 80. So if I apply 25% discount on 80, what will be my new price?
60.
60. Very good. And thus he gets 240 in this. So if I add both of them, what am I getting? 880. Okay. What is told over here? He gets a total of 2112 and makes a 10% profit. So when I assume my mark price to be 100, I'm getting a total of 880. To get a total of 2112, what should be my mark price? Did you understand this relation? You got 880 because you assumed your mark price to be 100. But you don't want 880. What you want it as 2112. So now if you cross multiply, what answer are you getting?
240.
You're getting 240, so I'm not calculating. So your actual mark price, not assumed, but your real mark price is 240 rupees per toy. Are we clear up till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now what is said?
Ma'am, I had a doubt in the first part of the question because it's the same selling price. We assume the marking markup.
No, no. I did that because there is some error in the language of the question,
Okay, ma'am.
right? Okay. So are we clear up till here? Because now next part is very important.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Now he says that he got 2112 as the final amount after making a 10% profit. So if your selling price, your total selling price is 2112 and your profit is 10%, can you find me the cost price? You know how to find it? What will be the cost price? How will you do it? Multiplier method. Selling price is equal to cost price into the multiplier. Yes? Cancel this. What are you getting? Guys, are you with me?
192.
So 1920 is your total cost price because 2112 was your total selling price. So cost price per toy will be 1920 divided by 12, correct? So what will be your cost
Yes.
price per toy?
160.
160. This was again a very important conclusion. This marked price was also per toy, correct? That we got. Okay.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
what is asked? With no discounts, his percentage of profit would have been. So, when there are no discounts involved, can I say marked price is equal to selling price?
Yes.
So, if cost price is 160 and selling price is 240, what will be your profit percentage?
80 by 160 into 100. So 1 by 2, 50%.
Correct. This step was important. All right. Moving ahead. A salesman sells two kinds of shirts, cotton and woolen. A pair of cotton shirts is sold at 40% profit, and a pair of woolen shirts is sold at 20% profit. Okay. The salesman has calculated that if he sells 100% more woolen shirts than a cotton shirt, his overall profit would be 30%. So let me say my number of cotton shirts is 100 and my number of woolen shirts in this case is 200. Okay. A pair of cotton shirts is sold at 40% profit. So here there is nothing written about the price of the shirts, but what they say is the overall profit. So let's assume that the price of the cotton shirts is let's say X per shirt, and price of woolen shirt is Y per shirt. Okay. Now a pair of cotton shirt is sold at 40% profit, which means a pair of woolen shirts. So that would be applicable to all your shirts. Um, Salesman has calculated that if he sells 100% more woolen shirts, his overall profit would be 30%. Let's try to form an equation over here. Overall profit 30%. When will that happen? When my profit upon CP is 30%, right? Okay, what will be my profit? So if I take, let's say, 100% number of shirts X and Y, my total cost price in this case is going to be 100X plus 200Y. I'm just thinking again that would it be okay if I avoided using variables? Would not work. Anything that strikes what we can do over here apart from what we are doing? This way we will get our answer, but I think this is a very lengthy method. In a competitive exam, you should not be doing this.
Ma'am, but then here both the things are unknown, like the number of shirts and the price.
And the price.
So I don't think that we can do it with like avoiding the variables.
Okay. One thing that strikes me is I know that in this case, the number of woolen shirts is double that of cotton. So what if we give the variable to that? So let's say number of cotton shirts is X, let's say M, and number of woolen shirts will be 2M. So I'm dealing with only one variable here, and I can assume the prices for both per shirt to be 100. Now, when I say cotton shirts, if cost price is this for cotton shirt, I can say that my selling price will be 140, and let's say selling price in this case would be 120.
Ma'am, but the profit is made on a pair of cotton shirts. So wouldn't it be two shirts pay one for like two shirts ka price is 140 then?
Then I will have to take two shirts ka CP as 100. Ultimately, my percentage will not change. Even if I take CP as for one shirt to be 50 and for one shirt the SP to be 70, still my profit will be 40%. My profit
Yes.
percentage will not change with how many ever number of shirts as long as they are equal in the pricing. Okay, all right. Now, if I move ahead, if the salesman sells 100, okay, that I have done, his overall profit is 30%. So let's try to do this. If I'm selling M shirts,
Ma'am, can you go over it from why do we consider NC to be M and NW to be 2M?
because 100% more woolen shirts than cotton shirts.
So it's a double. Okay, all right.
Okay, so now I'm going to form an equation for this overall profit of 30%. So when I sell my cotton shirts at 140 rupees, it is 140M, the total selling price. For woolen shirts, my total selling price is 120 into 2M. Do we understand this? Okay, this is my total selling price. What will be my total cost price in both the cases?
100 and
100M
100.
plus 100 into 2M, so 200M. Correct? So selling price minus cost price upon total cost price into 100 is 30%. Do we understand this equation, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if I try to cancel out 100 over here, what am I left with? Let's try to calculate. 140M plus 240M will give you
280 or 380 M.
right, and minus 300M is equal to
90 M.
you're not getting the right equation. However, so a pair of cotton shirts is sold at 40% profit. woolen shirts at 20% profit, we should still get the answer. Okay. Just give me 5 minutes. Let me just figure out where they. Till then, we can go ahead with the next question. Try solving the next question. Let me figure out this. We'll make sure we solve this question before the class ends. I think we're just missing out on some small information which is not striking me right now. You can start doing this question. This is an easy question. I'm sure you should be able to do this.
So, ma'am, I have assumed the desktop computer to be X and the laptop to be 50,000 minus X.
Okay.
So, we calculate the total cost price, and then the selling price of the desktop will be 6 by 5X, and of laptop will be 50,000 minus X into 9 by 10.
Okay.
And then we can substitute it in the profit percentage formula.
Okay. Which would be too lengthy. Okay. So here I'm going to show you one shortcut. We have not done that concept yet, but for such a question, that concept is like a gold thing. I mean, if I don't use that, it is of no use. I'll show you that. We'll do that concept in detail later also. The topic is called allegations and mixtures. So basically, when does this concept come into picture is when I'm kind of mixing any two things in a weighted average format. So if you just look at this question, there are two things, desktop computer and a laptop computer. One is sold at 20% profit, another is sold at 10% loss, and overall they are making a 2% profit. So do you see two things are mixed to get a third result?
Yes.
Okay, so in the first case where there is a desktop computer, your profit is 20%. In the second case where there is a laptop computer, the loss is 10%. And overall, it is a 2% profit. Do you see the way I have written it? Clearly, your overall profit or loss has to be in between 20% profit and 10% loss. Now, what is the difference of 20 and 2? Just tell me the
18.
difference. 18. And what is the difference of minus 10 and 2?
Minus 8.
The bigger one is 2, right? So 2 minus minus 10, the difference will be 12.
Oh,
On the number line, if you see plus 2 and minus 10, the difference will be 12. Do we understand this? Yes, so this 12, 18, if I reduce this ratio, the ratio is 2:3, which means to get this result, the price of desktop computer and laptop computer should be in the ratio of 2:3. Now the total cost price for both of them is 50,000. So if I distribute 50,000 in the ratio of 2:3, the price of desktop computer has to be 20,000. Again, this cross method or the allegation method, we have not done. I have just shown you that method because it applies over here as a shortcut. Otherwise, what she said as a longer method is always possible, but I would not do that. So when you do allegation method in the class with me, I think you will be able to relate this better. But did you understand what we just did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, last question where we got stuck, I think I realized what mistake we made. We assumed two things in total. We assumed the the number of cotton and woolen shirts as X and 2X. That was one thing. And we also and that was not an assumption, that was a condition given to me over here. But what assumption we made was that both the cost prices were same. We took the cost price of cotton shirt also as 100 and selling a cost price of woolen shirt also as 100, whereas nothing of that sort is given to us in the question. And that is why, I mean, anyone would have naturally started with that, but we clearly didn't end up with the right equation, which means that assumption that both the types of shirts have the same cost price was incorrect. So let me assume the cost price of cotton shirts as C and the cost price of woolen shirts as W. Let me start with that. Cost price of one cotton shirt as C and cost price of one woolen shirt as W. Now, what is the first case that they are telling you is, if I sell 100% more woolen shirts than cotton, the overall profit will be 30%. So first, let us try to calculate the selling price. So let's say woolen shirts. I know that for woolen shirts, my selling price is 1.2. So if this is your cost price for cotton shirts, my selling price is going to be 1.4 C because it is a 40% profit, and 1.2 W because it is a 20% profit. Now the first case. Let's say I'm selling one cotton shirt and two woolen shirts. Doesn't matter because it has to be double, right? So my selling price for one cotton shirt is going to be 1.4 C, and my selling price for two woolen shirts is going to be 2 into 1.2 W. This is my total selling price, right? And this total selling price gives me a 30% profit on the total cost price, which is C plus 2W. Did we all understand this? Multiplier method. Selling price is equal to cost price into the multiplier.
So here the cost price is also taking for one cotton shirt and two woolen shirts.
Yes. Yes, because I'm selling one cotton and two woolen. So I also have to buy one cotton and two woolen. I can't have different quantities on both the sides. Yes, so now if you kind of simplify this equation, what will you get? 1.4 C minus 1.3 C, this side is 0.1 C, and 1.3 into 2, 2.6 W minus 2.4 W is 0.2 W, which means what is the first result that you are getting? C is equal to 2 W, which means cost price of one cotton shirt is double the cost price of one woolen shirt. Do you understand this? So that is why that assumption that we did in our first solution proved incorrect. Yes
Yes,
or
ma'am.
no? Okay. Now, using this result, we can go to the second condition. He ends up selling 50% more cotton shirts than the woolen shirts, right? So in this case, what will be my total cost price? So let's say when I say 50% more cotton shirts, so let me say I'm selling, let's say, two woolen shirts and I am selling three cotton shirts. So is this 50% more? Okay. So let me try to find a profit percentage in this case. All right. So what will be my total selling price in this case? For two woolen shirts, it is going to be 1.2 W into 2, and for three cotton shirts it's going to be 1.4 C into 3. This is my total selling price. What will be my total cost price? For three cotton shirts 3C, and for two cotton shirts 2W. This will be my total cost price. Are we clear up till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I know that C is equal to 2W. So let me try to substitute that. If I substitute C as 2W over here, and if I substitute C as 2W over here, do you see that you get everything in terms of W? I know this is a little tricky question, but stay with me. 1.2 into 2 is 2.4, and so this is 2.4. And what is this? 1.4 into 6. What is 14 6 are? 84. So this becomes 10.8 W. And what about your cost price? 3 2s are 6 plus 2, 8W. So now with this selling price and cost price, can you find the profit percentage? How will you find the profit percentage? Profit upon cost price into 100. So 2.8 upon 8 is 28 upon 80. If I just simplify this, 4 sevens are and 4 20s are. So 7 by 20 into 100 is nothing but 35%. All right, should we move ahead? Okay. In a market, the price of medium quality mangoes is half the price of good quality mangoes. A shopkeeper buys 80 kg of good quality and 40 kg of medium quality from the market and then sells them at a common price, which is 10% less than the price at which he bought the good ones. Okay, so I think, yeah, here because this is given to us, we can try assuming the price of medium quality and good quality. So let's say price of medium quality is, what do you want to assume, 100 per kg, and price of good quality is, let's say, 200 per kg. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you will keep on answering and giving me the values. Shopkeeper buys 80 kg good quality. So what is that cost price?
16,000.
Yes. And 40 kg medium quality. This cost price is
4,000.
4,000, which means his total cost price is,
20,000.
yes. Now he sells them at a common price, which is 10% less than the good ones. So what is the price of good ones? 280. Sorry, 200 rupees per kg. So if I reduce that price by 10%, what is the selling price per kg?
180.
180. So he's selling all the mangoes at 180. What is the total amount of mangoes that he has? How many kgs?
40. Oh, sorry, 80 kgs of good quality.
He sells all of them. So he has a total of 120 kgs
Okay, so he sells them at a price of 10% less
at a
than what he
common
bought
price.
the good ones.
At a common price, which means he
Uh,
sells all 120 at one price, and that one price is 10% less than the good quality price. Clear?
yes, ma'am.
So what is 180 into 120? Come on, quick.
21600.
Correct. So if this is the total cost price and this is the total sale price, can you find the total profit?
1600 upon 20,000 into 100.
Will be 8%.
8%.
Okay. See, it's a cat question, not that difficult. Okay, let's try to see this. Mayank buys some candies at 15 rupees a dozen and an equal number of candies at 12 rupees a dozen. He sells them at 16.5 rupees a dozen and makes a profit of 150 rupees. How many dozens of candies did he buy together? So, because they have asked the number of candies, I cannot assume it to be 100. Let me say he bought X dozen in both the cases, because in both the cases he buys equal number. Now I'm given my total profit as 150. I know that selling price minus cost price is your profit. Now what will be my total selling price? He sells at 16.5 a dozen. So my total selling price has to be 16.5 into
2x.
2x. What will be his total cost price?
15x into 12 plus 12x.
And his total profit is,
150.
that's it. You just need to solve this, get the value of x. And will the value of x be your answer? Your answer will be 2x. Can you take it from here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll just move ahead. 16.5 into 2 will be 33. And this will be 27. 33 minus 27 will be 6x. 6x is equal to 150. So your 2x is going to be 50. Moving to 22nd question. Mukesh purchased 10 bicycles in 2017, all at the same price. He sold 6 of these at 25% profit and remaining 4 at 10% loss, 25% loss. He made a total profit of 2000 rupees. Then what is the purchase price of a bicycle in rupees? This is again very simple question. You want to try this? I'll give you 5 minutes. Try this. If I assume the cost price of each bicycle to be X, he sold 6 of these at a profit of 25. So can I say profit of 25 is nothing but 1/4 of X is the profit amount, only the profit amount. So 6 into 1/4 of X, remaining 4 at 25% loss. So minus 4 into 1/4 of X is the total profit, which is 2000 rupees. Anyone who didn't understand this?
Clear, ma'am.
Clear? So your X is nothing but
Ma'am, X is 2000. Oh, sorry, 4000.
4000. Yes. Okay. Now this is an important question. Let's try to do it. Mr. David manufactures and sells a single product at a fixed price in a niche market. The selling price of each unit is 30 and the cost price for producing X units is this. Now, Mr. David noticed that doubling the daily production from 20 to 40 units increases the cost price by 66.66%. First of all, if my number of units is 20, what will be my total cost price according to the equation? 240.
240 plus 20B plus 400C.
Correct. And if my total units is 40, what will be my cost price?
Plus 40B plus 1600C.
Okay. And what has been said between these two is that if this happens, the cost increases by 66.66%, which means this second cost is 66.66% more than the first cost. Correct. So can I form an equation over here? So let's say I'm not writing the whole thing. Cost price of 40 units, 66.66% is nothing but 2/3. So if something increases by 2/3, the multiplier becomes 1 plus 2/3, which is 5/3. Is nothing but 5/3 the cost price of 20 units. Did you understand this equation?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, now when the production increases from 60 to 40, sorry, 40 to 60, there is an increase of 50%. So I can say that cost price of 60 units is 50% more. That is why 3 by 2 times more than the cost price of 40 units. So in this equation, when you substitute this entire thing, you get Tell me, what do you get when you substitute CP40, CP20 in the first equation? What is the relationship between B and C that you are getting? Yes, I'm waiting. Someone was going to say something.
20B plus 2800C is equal to 480.
20B plus 2800C is equal to 480. Similarly, you can also find a relation this side. Yes.
1200C is equal to 120. So C.
1200C is equal to
120. B
no.
is getting cancelled.
Acha, B is getting cancelled entirely.
Yes.
So 1200C is equal to 120, which means C becomes 1 by 10. And if we substitute this C in that first equation where C is 1 by 10, so this becomes 480 minus 280 is 200. So B becomes 10. Do we understand the values of B and C? Now what is given to me? Assuming that the demand is unlimited and he can sell as much as he produces, he wants to maximize his profit. How many units does he produce? Okay, so profit has to be maximized. So first let us calculate the profit, which is selling price minus cost price. Now I don't know how many units. Let's say the units is X. So what will be the selling price of X units? 30X. What will be the cost price of X units? 240 plus 10X plus C by 100. You want to maximize this profit. So first let's try to rearrange the terms. Get all your variables of one side and constants the other side. This is X squared. Sorry. So come on, how do I reframe this?
20x minus C by 100 is equal to 240.
20X minus
C by 100.
C ka value to you already have, no? 1 by 10. And 240 is also there, no? So clearly you have got a quadratic equation over here, right? You will have to solve this quadratic equation and get the values of X. And then whichever values of X that maximizes the profit, that will be your answer. Because X is what you are supposed to find, right? Okay, are we clear on this? Again, this is a little calculation sensitive question. So in the exam, this would not be my go-to question in the beginning. Only in case of time left at the later part of your section before the section gets over. If you have time left, you give it to solving such question. Otherwise, these are very time consuming questions and you should not solve them in the exam because they will cost you 2-3 easy questions, which is not a fair deal. All right. What is the maximum profit? Same question. So whatever value of X you got, if you substitute in that profit equation, you should also get the value of maximum profit. All right. Now, 25th question. An article is marked X% above the cost price and a discount of 2 by 3x, 2x by 3% is given on the marked price. If the profit is 4% of the cost price, and the value of x lies between 25 and 50, what is the 50% of x? Oh God. Again, because everything is given to me in terms of percentage, I'm going to start by assuming my cost price to be 100. And I am told that profit is 4%, which means my mark price is, sorry, my selling price is 104. Are we clear up till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, an article is marked X% above the cost price. So, your marked price is 100 into your multiplier will be 1 plus X by 100 because I don't know the value of X. Okay. Now, I know that mark price into the discount multiplier will give me the selling price. Let us try to use that. So, 100 into 1 plus x by 100. Now, what is the discount over here? 2x by 3%. So, 1 minus 2x by 3% gives you the selling price, which is 104. Do we understand this equation? So, again, once you simplify this, you're going to get a quadratic equation which you will have to solve. And that quadratic equation will give you two values of x. Only one value will satisfy this condition. But that will not be your answer because your answer is half of that x value. So that you can give after solving this. Can we try doing this further at home?
Yes,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Let's try to look at this. A person buys teas of three different qualities at 800, 500 and 300 per kg respectively, and the proportion is 2 is to 3 is to 5. So let me assume that the quantity of first is 2, quantity of second is 3 and quantity of third is 5. Cost price of first is 800, cost price of second is 500 and cost price of third is 300. So your total cost price in this case will be 1600 plus 1500 plus 1500, which will give you 4600. Are we clear up till here?
Yes, ma'am.
She mixes all the tea and sells 1/6 of the mixture at 700 rupees per kg. So if I mix all my tea, it will be 10 kg. Correct? If I sell 1/6, means 6 kg I am selling at 700 rupees per kg. So this is what? 4200. This is my first selling price. This is my cost price. At what price per kg should she sell the remaining tea? So remaining tea is 4 kg. Should be sold at what price so that the overall profit is 50%. Now the overall profit has to be on 4600. Correct? What is 50% of 4600?
2300.
2300. So your overall selling price should be 4600 plus 2300, which is 6900. So if SP1 is 4200, what should be SP2? What should be the price per kg? Okay, all right. Let's look at this. So now we do the questions of faulty weights and balances. The spring balance of a trader shows 1 kg for 900 grams. Find the profit or loss percentage if the trader marks up the price by 10%. Okay. So, like I told you yesterday, whenever there is a faulty weight question, what kind of a table do you make to solve it?
Buy and sell side.
Buy and sell, and in both the cases, price and quantity. Okay. Now, it shows that spring balance shows 1 kg for 900 grams. Clearly, there is nothing said on the buying side. So, for buying side, there is no cheating done. He is buying 1000 grams at a cost of 1000 grams. Now, trader marks up the price by 10%. So, what is the price of 1000 grams when it trader tries to sell it?
1100.
But he sells what quantity?
900.
Okay, this is step 1. What is step 2? We did yesterday. Equating the quantities on both the sides. So to do that, what should we do?
Multiplying buying side by 900 and
Yes,
selling side.
very good. So this becomes 9,000, 9,000, 11,000, 9,000. So now my quantities are same. So this becomes my cost price and this becomes my selling price. Can you tell me the profit percentage?
22.22.
Profit. Right? 2 by 9. 1 by 9 is 11.11. So 2 by 9 will be 22.22. Okay. Let's see the other question. We solved this same type of question yesterday in our explanation part. I would give you 5 minutes to solve this and tell me the answer by yourself. We solved yesterday in terms of milk and water. Here they are doing it in terms of rice and sand. How would you start it? Come on, tell me. Let's do it together. How would you start this question?
We assume the cost price to be 100.
Cost price of what?
Rice.
Okay. All right. Then,
Then the cost price of the total rice will be 500.
okay.
And the quantity of the mixture is 6 kgs. So the
Okay.
cost price of the mixture will be 600.
No. Sand comes free of cost. So even though
Oh,
the
sorry, selling price of the mixture.
no selling price of a mixture is at a 25% more price. So selling price per kg is instead of 100, it is 125. Do you understand this?
Okay, so 125 into 6.
Yes. Which will give you
750.
so if this is the cost price and this is the selling price, what is the profit percentage?
50%.
Yes. Do we understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, a merchant uses a weight of 0.85 kgs in place of 1 kg to sell potatoes. Okay. Let his actual percentage or loss be M when he pretends to sell his articles at 5% loss. So first, let's make a buy sell table for the first case.
Ma'am, so whenever the profit or loss percentage is unknown, then we make the buy and sell table, or else we directly
Whenever
calculate
there is a
the.
weighing problem, whenever there is a cheating in the weightage, you make a buy sell table.
Okay, and in case of a mixture, we directly calculate the selling price and cost price and.
Yeah. Okay. So he uses a 0.85 kg in place of 1 kg to sell. So basically, buying side, there is no issue. He buys 1000 in the price of 1000, but selling side, he sells 850 in place of 1000, but he says that I am selling at 5% loss. So instead of 1000, he claims his selling price is, what is 5% loss of 1000?
950.
950. So this would be the thing where again this is step 1. Step 2 would be equating the quantities. So I will have to equate my quantities by multiplying this with 10 and this with, I mean, I can just ignore zeros over here because it doesn't matter in the ratio. So I can multiply this with 10 and this with 85. I have to still multiply this with 100. Okay. And I can equate my quantities on both the sides. So it is what? 8500, 8500, 9500, 8500. Are we getting this? So this is CP, this is SP. Can you calculate the percentage profit? And that is nothing but M.
11.76.
You can tell me in terms of ratio because your options are in terms of ratio. Do not simplify it.
200 by 17.
Perfect. Okay. Similar table can be made for the second case where he sells his articles at 5% gain. So what will be the only change in step 1?
The price of the articles.
So this is going to be 1050.
50.
Rest everything will remain same. So this will become 10500. So if these are the two prices, then you get the value of N. And M plus N will be your answer. I think from what numbers I am seeing, N should come down to 400 by 17. So your M plus N will be 600 by 17. All right, then the last question. A shopkeeper goes to wholesale market to buy his merchandise. Now see, this question is important. The wholesaler has a weighing balance that reads 110 grams for a kilogram. So do you understand the cheating is happening on the buying side also?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, if you are the shopkeeper, the cheating is happening on the buying side also for you. So what is happening is you are buying 1000 grams, but you are paying price for 1100. And what happens is he sells the entire purchase to the customer after marking up his price by 10%. So he says that I am selling 1000 grams to the customer, but at a markup price of 10%. So instead of 1000, I'm charging him 1100. Do you understand what I did? Buy side, the wholesaler gives him 1000 at a price of 1100. Selling side, he's selling 1000 at a price of 1100. So what is his net profit or loss?
Nothing.
It's no profit, no loss.
Ma'am, but why the markup price has been on 1000 instead of 1100?
Because
Because the price that he bought was for 1100 rupees.
okay, but the quantity he bought was 1000. Correct.
Yes.
But what did he, as a shopkeeper, feel that he has bought 1100 grams in the price of 1100 rupees as a shopkeeper. What he saw is
Okay.
he saw that the weighing balance showed 1100. So for him, price per gram is 1 rupee.
Okay.
So he says that if I have bought price per gram as 1 rupee, so my actual cost price for 1000 grams is 1000 rupees. But he's marking up his price, so now the price becomes 1100.
Okay, got it now.
Okay. So this is the end of profit and loss. Thank you so much.